So interesting to statistics that I think that we all probably should be aware of, give us a little bit of confidence in who we are and what we are, us being U.S. citizens, right? So civilians in the United States are the most armed population in human history. Now, this is according to chat, right? There's some, I had it pull some various different sources, but I was just kind of playing around with something because I saw some post about, what's the chances of U.S. invasion and, how would that work for everybody attempting? And what's really interesting is it says, as you get down into it, how our military is, how we are set up geographically, how the Rockies are. We have countries on each end, plus the coast, and how difficult it would be. Parts of that landscape in the middle is a logistical nightmare as well as supply chain. But then also said, estimated U.S. civilian firearms. This is estimated, right? Because it's not like everything's reported. They don't know exactly what's out there. 400 to 450 million, right? The U.S. population is 335 million, according to this. So there's more guns than people here. That's a big deal, right? So if you remember Yamamoto, when he was, they were invading the U.S. from Japan in just, there was two invasions, right? You may not know about both of them. There's one is Pearl Harbor, and then there was the Aleutian Islands. And that's a very interesting story. Look it up. That we actually had physical occupation of U.S. territory by a foreign army, foreign military, and it's fought off by U.S. military and the natives. Pretty interesting story. Check that out. But so comparison to other militaries, this is interesting stuff. So the United States has 400 million to 450 million firearms, 1.2 to 1.4 per person in the United States. India has 71 million. That's 6 times fewer weapons. China, 49 million, right? That's mostly rural and single shot, right? So then you've got Russia, 17 million, very, very strict licensing. The entire European Union is 80 million, which is 27 nations combined. 80 million compared to our 450 million to 400 to 450 million. In most of these countries, they will not let you have a semi-automatic, right? You won't have the type of firearms that we have. So the U.S. civilians own 100 times more guns than the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps combined. If only 1% of the U.S. gun owners resisted an invasion, that's 4 million armed fighters. That's larger than any military ever deployed in human history, according to this. So, something you want to know, if you're one of those people, you are part of the largest armed force on the planet. That's some severe freaking, I mean, that's some chest pounding stuff, guys. Think about that. You're part of that. And that's only if 1%. Can you imagine if 10% decide, hey, this is some bullshit? Consider all the pressure that we're under. Consider the division that's being tried to be pushed on us. That's why. Because literally, we're the most powerful. The individual human is the most powerful force in the world right now, when combined with the other citizens within the United States. So it's pretty interesting information. So what do we got going on this week? Of course, today, Fed rate decision. So we got Powell on. That is supposed to be coming out and talking. I'm looking some of this stuff up, and a lot of people are wondering, okay, what are we going to end up having? How's that going to affect us? Well, let's see how it's been affecting us, because that's what we really want to know. What's it been doing every single time? Because there's some people holding out right now, wanting to know, how is the Fed rate decision going to do for us today? Because it could, have some sort of benefit to us. We don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see what we get out of this, because I'm very curious, which I already know because I do this stuff all the time. But take a look here. This is what the Fed rate cuts have done every single time. Rate cut, down. Rate cut, down. Highly likely there would be another rate cut today, but it's all about what Powell has to say. What's the commentary? Is it dovish? Is it hawkish? Those kind of things. So what we're looking at today, this is where we are right now, guys. We're going down to the bottom of this, and we have stayed within this realm right here for a very long time. If we squeeze this out, much longer than we really have at any other time. Look at this, in and out. But if you get back in here, when we first start breaking into it, when the market was trying to understand if they're really going to get lower, this is where it hung after quantitative tightening had kicked in. Well, now we've got quantitative tightening is up as of 9 days ago. So quantitative tightening stopped, but we're still losing ground. So it just goes to show where the value of this security is. And quantitative tightening is not necessarily, when it's being released, mean more money going back into the system. Improving things is not necessarily going to go to mortgage-backed securities. There has been a lot of commentary about that. That's going to be targeted more into a treasury balance sheet, not into a MBS balance sheet, which would affect interest rates negatively. So if you've been holding out, think at the end of the year, this is when it's going to get awesome. Guys, We've been talking about it. It's not improved. So if you thought that the last Fed rate cut was going to do it for you, didn't do it. Let's see what this one does. We'll just see. I don't know. It's happening today. So we'll talk again about this on Friday. It is Wednesday. I missed yesterday. I'm out on my place here in Missouri. I'm building out a whole lot of stuff, doing a lot of work on this place. So during the day, I'm just going nuts, getting everything done I can till from the sun up to sundown, slipping in here, taking calls, doing Zooms, doing podcasts, doing this, and just trying to stay busy. Well, it's no trying. I'm slammed. So appreciate you guys. Remember, have some confidence, guys. You're part of the biggest army out there. Talk to you guys on Friday.